For children's literature, the winner is Hildi Kang's Chengli and the Silk Road Caravan, published by Tanglewood Publishing. Hildi Kang is a former educator, a writer, and an active traveler, having made trips by foot, bike, and llama. She is a graduate of the University of California, Berkeley, and as an educator taught elementary special education, conducted seminars in teacher training, and served as guest lecturer in Korean studies at various universities. Her writing includes 5 books for elementary school teachers, An Entry in Fire and Wings, the Dragon Anthology of Cricket books, and 2 academic books on Korean history. When not writing or traveling, she hikes, bikes, and plays cello in a local orchestra. She and her family lived many years in the town of Clarence Center near Buffalo, New York, and now currently resides in Livermore, California. Now, Chengli and the Silk Road Caravan by Hildi Kang takes place in Chang'an, the current Xi'an, China in 630 AD. Chengli is an orphan. When he was a baby, his father disappeared into the desert. His mother is also dead. Chengli, now 13, works for a silk merchant but feels the call of the desert and joins a silk caravan in hopes of finding someone who knew his father. As a member of the caravan that travels more than 2,000 miles, Chengli has many adventures, including a bandit attack when the princess entrusted to the caravan's protection is kidnapped. Chengli leaves the caravan, joins the nomads, and conducts a daring rescue, saving the princess. Chengli finds friendships, learns about his father, and discovers himself. Now, this story is full of adventure, but grounded in history. Some readers may encourage to learn more about the Silk Road in China and even to plot Chengli's route on the map. Historical notes furnished by the author may help to promote this further exploration. This strong tale of adventure, firmly structured with cultural and historical connections, should appeal to children, and for this reason, the committee believed that Chengli and the Silk Road Caravan is deserving of the Apollo Children's Literature Award. Now, Hildi is supposed to be here, I know that for a fact, but she broke her foot, and so she's one of those authors who's a good excuse. But we have Peggy is here to receive the award for her.
Thank you. Yes, she really wanted to be here. So I have a short statement from her to read, but I thought I'd share a little bit also about the book. It was inspired not only from a lifelong fascination with the Silk Road, but also herself taking a trip with her husband down the Silk Road in 1999. So I always love to hear the backstory. I was her editor and publisher, so I always love to hear the backstory behind a book. The first thing she sent me was an excerpt from her journal that she kept during that trip. And it was, "Our van has no shocks and no speedometer. Our driver simply drives at full tilt and hopes nothing falls off the van. We bounced, pounded, jostled, and jerked across this semi-paved desert track on pavement that is buckled and often simply reclaimed by the ownership of the great desert, hurtling forward at some breakneck speed, controlled only by the whim of the driver. The desert has no gas stations, service stations, no hospitals. So I asked him what happens if one gets in an accident. He answered calmly, 'You die.' I've learned in the city to saunter through the calm chaos of traffic, use squat toilets with or without privacy dividers, climb up, down, and across the Gobi to reach temple caves, watchtowers, and camels, and to take in stride the punishing, hurtling, pounding of our tiny van in the immensity of the desert." And she said she took enough photos to fill 3-inch binders. So I also asked her to give me a better overview, just kind of a one-page overview of her trip, and she wrote it in third person. And please forgive my mispronunciations of place names. I know I'm going to butcher a few. She said, "An early love of books and maps led to dreams of the blue-domed mosques of Samarkand and the donkey market in Kashgar, both along the ancient Silk Road and all hidden behind the political barriers of communism. In the 1990s, the barriers fell, and Hildi Kang, her husband, and 2 companions, plus driver and interpreter, spent a month following the trade routes around the Taklamakan Desert in the northwest province of China and crossing into Uzbekistan to follow the road from the cities of Khiva to Samarkand. Friendship overpowered the lack of shared language as they sat in a family's courtyard shaded by a grapevine trellis, struggled to climb the sand mountains near Dunhang, hiked in the Kazakh mountain community followed by a 5-year-old on horseback, elbowed a path through the donkey market of Kashgar, and drove 8 hours on the one and only paved road between Khiva and Bukhara with nothing at all in sight except flat, barren, desolate land, and vividly imagining a camel caravan making the same trip. Suddenly, the realization hit that, quote, the trade routes, unquote, are still in use. Camel caravans have become truck caravans, using the same but recently paved road and still traveling in groups, for the dangers haven't changed. Photos preserve the story, the trip, the story of Chengli shares it. So I thought that was pretty nice. So Hildi did send a statement. She said, good morning. It is with real heartache that I give this to Peggy to read for me. It is a strange and wondrous feeling getting this award because Chengli is my first and at this point my only book for youngsters. The other books I've written are all on Korean history, a small segment of Asian studies, and giving me a reading public of possibly 10 people in the entire world. But the Silk Roads, the ancient caravan routes, have been part of my entire life. I've been absorbing pictures and information of the ancient trade routes out of China and across Central Asia since childhood. One of those inexplicable things that pull at your mind and heart for no apparent reason. So when my husband and I took our own trip in 1999, I kept storing away ideas for a book. My trip notes say to use this for Chengli, or that, or absolutely use this. An example being the 5 musicians playing while sitting together on a camel. This I found as a piece of pottery from the 600s Tang dynasty. I knew there were plenty of books for grown-ups, but none for kids. So I decided to start a young boy out across the route and see what happened to him. What happened to me was a long string of rejections, most of them saying no one reads historical fiction these days. Thus, receiving this award and proving them wrong, I thank first Peggy Tierney for believing in Chengli's story, Marcy Jean Stacy for the absolutely gorgeous cover photo, and Dora Ho and all of the other committee members for choosing the book for this award. Special thanks to each of you. And so Hildi couldn't be here to sign books, but she did send me, she overnighted some book plates. So we have some signed copies at the Tanglewood booth at 2532 if you want to come by and see photos of Hildi on camelback and face down in sand dunes and some other really cool pictures. So thank you very much.